I'm Tom Spiggle with the Spiggle Law Firm, where we help women who've been wrongfully fired or afraid that they might be. And today I want to talk to you about how to protect yourself from the coronavirus at work without getting fired. Let me first say that the legal landscape on this topic is changing, if not hourly, then certainly daily. So this is something that you want to be watching the news about. There's several proposals now before Congress about how they're going to deal with this, including proposals to have 2 weeks of paid sick leave nationally, which is something we currently do not have. Payroll taxes, this is yet to be enacted, but it's something to keep your eye on. But the state of play right now with existing law, if you want to protect yourself at work from the coronavirus, is if you want to stay home, if you're scared about getting coronavirus at work, there's currently no legal right to stay at home because you are worried about it. However, you may want to look at first your company's paid leave policy. And I would make sure that you educate yourself about this personally and not just rely on HR, because we have seen instances where HR may not, or your manager who you're approaching may not fully understand your own company's paid leave policy. So know what that is, because a company can offer a paid leave policy that's much more generous than federal or state law, which is frankly not hard to do because there's very little on federal or state leave law. The laws that might apply if you are sick, even if you don't know if you have the coronavirus, or certainly if you have flu-like symptoms, are the Family Medical Leave Act and the Americans with Disabilities Act. The Family Medical Leave Act has limited scope. Your company has to have at least 50 employees and you have to have worked for almost full time for the last year for it to apply. If it does, and if you have flu-like symptoms, or if you have the flu, certainly have the coronavirus, you are very likely covered by the Family Medical Leave Act, which entitles you to up to 12 weeks of unpaid leave. For many employees who have short-term disability, you may qualify for short-term disability during that time period, which will allow you to get some pay. That will depend on what your short-term policy is. If you are covered by FMLA, or if you wonder, that's something that your HR department should know about. So make sure you contact them, indicate that you believe you're covered by the FMLA and you're requesting FMLA leave. Many companies have a third-party provider handle this, and they'll have a 1-800 number that you can call and they'll provide you the paperwork. So your company's policy, FMLA. The third one is the Americans with Disabilities Act. Now, the Americans with Disabilities Act does not provide necessarily for leave. However, it requires companies to provide an accommodation for somebody who has a covered medical condition, which can, in some instances, include leave. The ADA offers some more scope than the FMLA. It covers all employers with 15 or more employees. So you have a lot of employers not covered by the FMLA, but they are covered by the Americans with Disabilities Act. If you believe you have the flu or flu-like symptoms, it's questionable about whether or not the Americans with Disabilities Act applies. It might, depending on the severity of the symptoms. It often helps to have a doctor write a note and indicate that the symptoms are interfering with a major bodily function, your nervous system, ability to breathe. If you're working with your doctor and you have these symptoms, that shouldn't be difficult to do. Unlike FMLA, you do need to specifically request leave under the ADA in order to get it. Your company is not obligated to suggest that to you as they are under the FMLA. Another thing to keep in mind for these sorts of issues is age discrimination. As we have heard, the coronavirus particularly affects older populations. It's possible that we'll see, and this is less about leave than your employment rights at work in regard to the coronavirus. It may be that we'll see some instances of discrimination against older people because of fear about the coronavirus. Just be on the lookout for that. Any offhanded comments, certainly any direct comments from your employer about you being let go because you're an older worker would apply. So be aware that that is in the background. So look at your company's paid leave policy. Consider the Family Medical Leave Act, consider with the Americans with Disabilities Act, watch for age discrimination, and finally look to state law. There are many state laws that might provide an opportunity to get leave. For example, if you're in the District of Columbia, the DC Human Rights Act and the DC FMLA are very generous. The DC FMLA provides up to 16 weeks as opposed to 12 under the federal law, something else that you want to look at. And of course, keep in mind Though most employers these days want to avoid the spread of the coronavirus, they are likely to work with you. So come in, be prepared to talk to them about telecommunications or working from home as a way to prevent the spread of the virus, and I'm guessing that you will find a receptive audience. We're here to help. Feel free to call if you have any questions about it.